Hey, it's Kasha. This is part 2 of my breakfast video as part of the How I Control My Blood Sugar series. So if you missed part 1 where I talk about why eating the lowest carb meal of the day should happen at breakfast time is important, then go down below and click on the link to watch that video. This video is going to be dedicated entirely to low carb breakfast ideas. So if you're interested in ideas for low carb breakfast, keep watching. Alright, first idea for breakfast. This is the most obvious one that came to my head because it's what I eat, and that is eggs. Now, eggs, it's a traditional breakfast food, so it was kind of a no-brainer because eggs are very high protein and very low, almost no carbs, which make it perfect for a low carbohydrate diet as well as controlling your post-breakfast spike in blood sugar. One large egg has 6 grams of protein and about half a gram of carbohydrate. Now, it's such a small amount of carbohydrate that I don't even include that in my breakfast. So when I'm counting carbs for my breakfast, I always keep it below 6 grams. And for protein, I like to have about 18 grams of protein for breakfast. So that for me, that works out to 3 eggs. And I find that that is enough to satisfy me until lunch. So eggs is the first idea for breakfast. And how can you prepare eggs? You can have fried eggs. You can have boiled eggs, either soft or hard. You can have scrambled eggs, my personal favorite. You can have an omelet. Omelets allow you to have some more variation because you can throw different things in the omelet. You can add cheese, also very low carbohydrate and high protein. You can add sausage. You can do a veggie mix inside the omelet. You can do poached eggs if you're not a brilliant cook, and they actually sell these really convenient egg poachers that you can just poach them in the microwave, and it's super easy and really yummy. Another great time-saving idea if you have to rush out in the morning and you don't have a long time to prepare breakfast. One of the things that I've done in the past is made a large egg quiche. One where there's no bread or anything like that in the quiche, it's crustless, but you can add eggs, you can add ham or sausage, spinach, mushrooms, whatever you like that's low carb inside that quiche. Make it in a big casserole dish and then cut it into servings. My casserole dish makes about 6 servings. Cut them up and then put them into containers and put them in the fridge, or you can even freeze that, and that's a really good quick breakfast. If you never have enough time in the morning, you can just grab one of your quiches. You've already counted out how much protein and how many carbs are in each slice, and you just eat that and go. There are other low carb ideas to make eggs more interesting. The first is cheese. There's all sorts of cheeses out there to choose from, and you can make very different dishes with different kinds of cheeses. There are hard cheeses, soft cheeses. There are cheeses that come with herbs or hot peppers inside the cheese, so it has a lot of flavor. You can either sprinkle cheese over scrambled eggs, or you can make a cheese omelet. You can even grate a little bit of cheese over fried eggs and it melts on top. Another way to make eggs more interesting is with fresh herbs. One of my favorites on eggs are chives, chopped up really fine. I also love parsley. And a little tip about using fresh herbs in your cooking, one of the things I do to make it easy is when I buy a batch of fresh herbs, I wash all of them, cut all of the, chop it up, and then I put it into a container and stick it in the freezer. And they'll last for a long time in your freezer. And whenever you want to use them, you just take it out of the freezer and sprinkle the frozen herb on your eggs. It defrosts immediately and it adds so much flavor. So that's a little tip with how to incorporate fresh herbs without having to wash and chop it every single time. Another way to make eggs more interesting is to do deviled eggs. Now that's where you make a hard-boiled egg, you take out the yolk, and you mix it with mayonnaise primarily, and you can add other things for flavor too. A little bit of mustard. I like fresh dill. If we're talking about herbs, fresh dill tastes really good in deviled eggs. Add whatever you like to them that is low carbohydrate, and you can have deviled eggs. Another nice thing about any kind of hard-boiled egg is that you can do it beforehand, and it's another quick option. If you don't have time to cook breakfast, it's already prepared. Alright, so if you're going with the egg idea for breakfast, there are some low-carb options that you can pair with the eggs to make your breakfast more interesting and to make it more filling. One of the obvious choices is some kind of breakfast meat. Now, that includes breakfast sausage, bacon, both things that can be made beforehand. So if you're busy during the week, you can just prep some bacon or sausage on a Sunday, stick it in a container, and then all you have to do is stick it in the microwave and go. You can even buy pre-made sausages, breakfast links, that are frozen. They're in the frozen aisle of your grocery store, and you just stick those in the microwave. Boom, you got sausages with your eggs. That's another way to add just a little bit more protein if you feel like the eggs alone don't satisfy your hunger until lunchtime. Now, the way you get those carbs, for me, again, I have 6 carbs for breakfast, is by pairing something from the approved low carb list with your eggs. Now, most of those approved items are some kind of vegetables, but there are also non-vegetable items included. So veggies, if you're going to pair veggies with your eggs, you can have mushrooms, spinach, cooked greens like collard greens or kale, or chard, Swiss chard, rainbow chard. There's all sorts of yummy green vegetables that you can just saute on a pan and throw those in with your scrambled eggs, or put them on the side with your fried eggs, and it's so tasty and so satisfying and really, really healthy. Incredibly low carb. Avocados. I personally enjoy avocado with my eggs. There's a really good omelet that I would do, and it was with avocado and tomatoes or salsa. You can just do salsa and then a little bit of cheese, and then you have like a sort of like Mexican flavor omelet, and that's really yummy if that's what you like. Throw some hot sauce on there, you're good to go. Zucchini, yellow squash, side salad, cucumbers. If you like something cold and crunchy in the morning, cucumbers are a great side to pair with eggs. Now, if you're looking for a side that feels more like a piece of toast, you're used to eating toast for breakfast, there is actually a pretty good low carb option. There are different kinds of different brands. You just have to go to your grocery store, find them in the grocery store, and compare labels to see which one has the lowest amount of carbs, the highest amount of fiber. But they have these basically fiber crackers. The ones I eat are the Ryvita brand, and specifically the sesame Ryvita, and they have 6 grams of carbs per cracker, and it's kind of like a like a flatbread type of cracker thing, and it's crunchy, and it's a little bit like toast. Like, it feels a little bit like you're eating bread with breakfast. There are other options as well. If you live near Trader Joe's carries these seed crackers. They come in a bag, and they're made just of seeds. Those also have 6 grams per seed cracker. Those are really good paired with eggs. I would put a thin layer of mayonnaise and mustard on one of those Ryvita crackers, and then top it with scrambled eggs, and you got a scrambled egg sandwich. Throw some cherry tomatoes on top, some avocado. Boom, healthy breakfast, high protein, fiber, veggies. You're going to feel great for the rest of the day, and you're not going to have a blood sugar spike. Another thing you can pair with eggs is fermented vegetables. So raw sauerkraut is something that's crunchy, a bit sour. It's a good combination with eggs, and it's great for gut health. Also, raw fermented pickles, if that's what you're into. There's all sorts of raw fermented vegetables you can eat with your eggs, and it will be healthy as well as low carb and give you a little bit of variety in terms of flavor. Some other ideas for time-saving techniques, like if you want a quick breakfast and you like the idea of having eggs with veggies on the side, frozen veggies are great. I always have them on hand. Frozen broccoli, cauliflower, spinach. I mean, they sell almost any vegetable frozen. Peppers, like bell peppers, those will be in the frozen aisle of your grocery store. Just have a couple bags ready in your freezer, and you just throw them on the skillet before you put your eggs on, and you can have like a veggie skillet. And you didn't have to wash anything or anything. So that's a really quick idea. Top it with soy sauce or a little bit of hot sauce, any low carbohydrate condiment of your choice, and very yummy, very satisfying, and no spike in blood sugar. As far as specific carb count goes for the different carb sides, that's going to be something that I would recommend you look up. There are all sorts of ways. You can just even Google how many carbohydrates in a cup of spinach, cooked versus raw. And I would suggest that you just come up with a list of low carb sides and look up yourself the quantities and how many carbs are in it, because it all depends on how much you feel like you need to eat in the morning. So that's something that you can figure out, and I would suggest using the internet. Alright, now I'm going to talk about some ideas if you don't like eggs, because not everybody likes eggs, and if you're not like me, you get tired of eggs after eating them every single day. So some non-egg ideas. Tofu is a great alternative to eggs, something that I enjoy having, not for breakfast but for other meals. It's high in protein, it's low in carbs. Again, you just look on the label, and based on how much you're using, you can determine how many carbs and how much protein you're using. There are a lot of ways to prepare it. You can scramble it up like eggs, you know, chop it up and do a veggie tofu scramble, and then top it with soy sauce or whatever you like. I would probably top it with soy sauce because tofu and soy sauce go really well together. There are also some other great soy or non-soy vegetarian breakfast ideas that you can usually find in your frozen section. Again, there's a brand called Morningstar, and they do little breakfast sausage patties and links. It has all the nutritional information on the box, and you can find the ones with the lowest amount of carbs, and that's again a meatless and a vegetarian option. Very low carb, very satisfying. I have eaten all of those, and they had like no effect on my blood sugar, so that would be a good option if you're avoiding meat and you want something other than eggs. Again, I would just pair that with a low carb veggie, you know, saute something on a skillet or microwave something that's a frozen veggie. You can also do a breakfast that is just breakfast meats paired with some kind of veggie side. So instead of eggs, you could have sausage, bacon, even hot dogs. Now, hot dogs, depending on the brand, have varying amounts of carbs, and so you have to again just go and compare and find the hot dogs that have the lowest amount of carbs, so that you know, you don't add too many carbs to your total carb count. And hot dogs work great, and you can dip it in just a little bit of ketchup. Heinz makes a sugar-free ketchup, which has a lower amount of carbs in it, so if you like ketchup on hot dogs, that's a great option for breakfast too. Any of those meats, I would again just pair with a cooked vegetable or a raw vegetable, a side salad, an avocado, a whole avocado, and a side of hot dogs or something. That is going to be a very good breakfast for your blood sugars. Alright, so I'm going to end this video with some options that are a little bit higher in carb but still much lower in carbohydrate count than your typical breakfast foods. And if you really hate eggs, or you know, that those really high protein foods for breakfast, these are some decent options that, I mean, I can't make any guarantees about you know, spikes after breakfast, but I would say they're definitely going to reduce your blood sugar spikes and help you have a more steady blood sugar after breakfast. So some of the things that you can consider, look on Pinterest, look on Google. There are a lot of great low carb pancake ideas. Most of them use almond flour or coconut flour and eggs. You can top it with sugar-free syrup, and then it's kind of like you're eating pancakes for breakfast, maybe a side of bacon strips or some of the meatless bacon or sausage patties, the Morningstar sausages. That would be a good option. Another thing that I found has less of an impact on my blood sugar, still it raises blood sugar but less so than like something like cold cereal, is flaxseed. So what I used to do was grind up with using a coffee grinder. You grind up flax seeds and make flax meal. I think you can also just buy it already ground up. And I would make flaxseed muffins. Now, I don't have any one recipe that I follow. I just Googled that. So you look up like low carb flaxseed muffin recipe and figure out the carb count in that. Those have a lot of fiber, and they just slow down that post-meal rise in blood sugar. So flaxseed meal is another great option if you don't like eggs or any of those other foods I've talked about. You can also eat plain yogurt or Greek yogurt that is plain, and you can flavor it with some sugar-free sweetener of some kind. I'll sometimes just put a few drops of the, you know, some kind of flavored stevia inside plain yogurt, make it a little bit sweeter, whatever flavor you like. I would be careful to avoid things like fruit, cold cereal, oatmeal, toast, hash browns, or any other kind of potato. Those are all very high carbohydrate foods that act rapidly on your blood sugar, and if you're gonna eat those foods, I would avoid doing it for breakfast at least, and wait until lunch or dinner when insulin works better in your system. So this video has already gotten way longer than I wanted it to, and I hope it was helpful. Ask any question you have down in the comments, and I will get back to you. If you've watched it this far, good for you. Good luck with implementing some of these breakfast ideas, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!